Hey there, this is Matthew with Disarm Harm. We are going over the 3 how skills inside of dialectical behavioral therapy, and this is still a very broad spectrum, very broad based analysis of the therapy model. The 3 how skills are non judgmentally, one mindedly, and effectively. Um, there's another video I'll be creating that are the what skills, but basically the what skills or the how skills follow the what skills. If you like this sort of thing, please subscribe, hit the like icon, hit the notification bell, and I'll be more than happy to help you out with all kinds of tips and tricks as we go on our therapy journey together. I am a student of psychology. I'm pursuing ideally a master's in social psychology. So, studying therapy, therapeutic outcomes, interventions, and therapy is really my thing. Not so much a counselor. Counselors typically work directly with people. I am the guy that basically engineers the manuals, um, puts them together in such a way that the counselors and social workers can use them effectively. I'm more interested in why things are doing what they're doing, not necessarily interested in the application of the technology, but I would love to share my journey with you guys on the why behind that. So these mindfulness how skills, there's 3 skills. We can do these in how non-judgmentally. The second one is one mindfully, and the third one is effectively. Um, Basically, what this means is that we take a non-judgmental stance, we focus on one thing in the moment, and we do what works effectively. And that's what it means to do things non-judgmentally, one mindfully, and effectively. Now, we're going to explore non judgmentally. And basically, non judgmentally is taking a non valuative approach and not judging something as good or bad. We tend to judge one another in excessively positive terms, which is idealization, or we tend to judge one another in excessively negative terms, which is devaluation. The idea is not that we should be more balanced in our judgments, that we should actually drop our judgments altogether. One thing in philosophy I've come to discover in the last while of studying morality, virtue, and ethics is that these things can take hold of us in such a way that we become ineffective towards the people around us. Um, and this is sometimes problematic. If we become too rigid, too flexible in some of our principles and our values, then it may actually alienate the people around us. So DBT stresses the consequences of behaviors and events. A non-judgmental approach may change these events and behaviors, but doing so does not require us to label them as bad. So that's really important. And we can determine whether a behavior meets a required definition or not through our own sense of discrimination. We don't need to determine things as good or bad. However, there are behaviors that might be against the law, and that's where a healthy sense of discrimination is going to come into the non judgmentally side of the skill set. One mindfully is mindfulness of totality has to do with the quality of awareness that you bring to the activity. So, what that means is, can you focus your mind on your current moment's activity rather than splitting your attention on several activities and thinking of something else? Oftentimes, we're in time machines that keep us worried about a future or worried about the past while we're trying to do a task. One mindedness basically allows us to practice focusing our attention, bringing ourselves into the moment, and doing the thing that we meant to be doing without worrying or ruminating over things that are going on in our day-to-day lives. We need to learn how to engage with alertness and wakefulness, and this takes practice. This is something I actively practice every single day. This is something that I have failed at many times. Every time I have failed at it, I have been much worse off failing at it than I have been just mindfully being in the moment, enjoying the moment, and focusing on the task at hand. The third skill is effectively. We should work to reduce your concern about being right, and work on what is actually needed for the situation. Focusing on effectiveness is using skillful means, which means we have to let go of being right in order to oftentimes be effective. the emphasis on principle over outcome can often result in individuals being disappointed or alienating others. Like I said, if we're heavily focused on our principles, we will alienate others in our lives. And everyone has to give in at some point in time. You're likely going to find it much easier to frame this kind of thinking as being effective instead of giving in. That's something that honestly really helped me in this journey, continues to help me in this journey, is that oftentimes situations call for me being more effective than it does for me being right or expressing my views or sharing my opinion or being very determined. If you like the content, by all means, please subscribe. We will be doing my best daily updates when it comes to these little bit tidbits and these information here. Please hit the like notification, hit the subscribe bell, hit the alert notification. And yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys soon.